In the dimly lit elegance of Le Chateau Noir, the most exclusive restaurant in New York City, where crystal chandeliers cast golden halos over tables draped in silk, a single phrase shattered the air like fragile glass. "She's with me," the man said calmly, his voice steady as a heartbeat, while the billionaire heiress, Victoria Langford, stood frozen at the table, her diamond-encrusted hand hovering mid-air, eyes wide with a storm of shock, regret, and something deeper, perhaps love long buried. The room seemed to hold its breath, waiters pausing with trays aloft, patrons whispering behind manicured hands, as the weight of those 3 words unraveled a decade of secrets, lies, and unspoken yearnings. But to understand how a humble single dad could bring one of the world's richest women to a standstill, we must rewind to the beginning, to a rainy afternoon in a forgotten corner of the city where fates first collided. If this tale of heartbreak, redemption, and unexpected romance grips you from the start, hit that like button right now and subscribe to our channel for more stories that tug at your heartstrings and leave you inspired, because every story like this deserves to be shared. It all started 10 years ago in the bustling chaos of Brooklyn's Greenpoint neighborhood, where the scent of fresh bagels mingled with the exhaust of passing taxis. Mark Thompson was a 28-year-old widower, his world narrowed to the tiny apartment he shared with his 4-year-old daughter, Lily. His wife, Sarah, had passed away suddenly from a rare heart condition just 2 years prior, leaving him to navigate the treacherous waters of single parenthood while juggling a job as a mechanic at a local garage. Mark's days were a blur of oil-stained hands, bedtime stories, and the quiet ache of loneliness that crept in during the silent nights. Lily, with her curly brown hair and eyes that sparkled like Sarah's, was his anchor and his storm, full of energy that demanded every ounce of his exhausted soul. He loved her fiercely, but the weight of providing for her, of being both mother and father, often left him wondering if he was enough. On that fateful rainy day, Mark was rushing home from work, his toolbox slung over his shoulder, when he spotted a sleek black limousine pulled over on the side of the road, its hood popped open and steam billowing out like a distress signal. A woman in a tailored suit stood beside it, umbrella in one hand, phone pressed to her ear, her expression a mix of frustration and impatience. She was Victoria Langford, heir to the Langford Empire, a multinational conglomerate spanning real estate, tech, and luxury goods. At 26, she was already a force in boardrooms, her name synonymous with power and wealth. But beneath the polished exterior, Victoria carried her own scars, a childhood marked by absent parents who prioritized deals over dinners, and a recent betrayal by her fiancé, who had been more interested in her fortune than her heart. She had built walls higher than her skyscrapers, trusting no one, especially not men. Mark approached hesitantly, rain dripping from his cap. "Need a hand?" he asked, his voice kind but wary. Victoria glanced up, her green eyes narrowing. "Unless you're a miracle worker, I doubt it. My driver's on his way." But Mark, ever the fixer, peered under the hood. "Looks like a busted radiator hose. I can patch it temporarily if you have a toolkit in the trunk." Reluctantly, she nodded, and as he worked, they fell into an unexpected conversation. He talked about Lily's latest drawing, a lopsided rainbow, and she shared a rare laugh about her disastrous attempt at cooking pasta the night before. For those 20 minutes, the rain seemed to fade, and 2 worlds touched. By the time the limo was drivable, Victoria handed him a crisp $100 bill. "For your trouble," she said. Mark shook his head. "Nah, just pay it forward someday." She watched him walk away, intrigued by this unassuming man who asked for nothing. Little did she know, that encounter would linger in her mind like a half-forgotten melody. Weeks turned into months, and fate wove their paths together again. Victoria's company was sponsoring a community event in Greenpoint, a charity fair for underprivileged kids. She attended out of obligation, her schedule packed with mergers and acquisitions. There, amid the cotton candy stands and face-painting booths, she spotted Mark chasing Lily through the crowd, her giggles echoing like music. Lily tripped, scraping her knee, and Victoria, without thinking, knelt down with a tissue from her purse. "Hey, tough girl, let's fix that up," she said softly. Mark looked up, recognition dawning. You again? Small world. From that day, a tentative friendship blossomed. Victoria found herself drawn to their simple life, visiting the apartment with excuses like, "I was in the neighborhood," or "I brought Lily some books." Mark's home was cluttered with toys and drawings, a stark contrast to her sterile penthouse overlooking Central Park. She envied the warmth, the unfiltered love between father and daughter. Mark, in turn, saw beyond her wealth to the vulnerability she hid so well, the way her shoulders tensed when talking about her family, or how her eyes softened when Lily hugged her. As time passed, emotions deepened. Late-night talks over coffee turned intimate. Victoria confessed her fears of never being loved for who she was, not what she had. Mark shared his grief over Sarah, how he sometimes felt guilty for moving on. One evening, under a blanket of stars on his tiny balcony, he kissed her. It was gentle, real, and for the first time, Victoria felt seen. But challenges loomed like storm clouds. The first hurdle was the glaring class divide. Victoria's world was one of galas and private jets, Mark's was playdates and budget groceries. Whispers started in her circles, friends questioning her, slumming it with a mechanic. Her father, the stern patriarch of the Langford dynasty, outright forbade it. "He's after your money, Victoria. Wake up." Mark faced his own doubts. Could he provide for her in the way she deserved? And what about Lily? Introducing a new woman into her life felt like a betrayal to Sarah's memory. Then came the betrayal that nearly shattered everything. A rival business associate, jealous of Victoria's rising power, dug into Mark's past and fabricated evidence suggesting he had a criminal record, a minor theft from his youth that was expunged but twisted into something sinister. Tabloids splashed headlines, "Heiress's mechanic beau, gold digger or con artist." Victoria, under pressure from her board and family, confronted Mark in a heated argument. "Is any of this true?" she demanded, tears in her eyes. Hurt, Mark pulled away. "If you have to ask, then maybe we don't know each other at all." They parted ways, hearts broken. Victoria threw herself into work, acquiring companies like Armor, but the emptiness grew. Mark focused on Lily, who missed Aunt Vicky terribly. "Why doesn't she come play anymore, Daddy?" she'd ask, her small voice piercing his soul. Years rolled by, 5, to be exact. Mark advanced to owning his own garage, a modest success built on hard work. Lily grew into a bright 9-year-old, still drawing rainbows but now with stories of her own. Victoria became CEO of Langford Enterprises, her fortune ballooning to billions, but her personal life remained a void. She dated sporadically, but no one compared to Mark's quiet strength. Fate intervened once more at a charity gala Victoria hosted. Mark was there, not as a guest, but as a volunteer mechanic fixing a donor's vintage car in the parking lot. Their eyes met across the room when she stepped out for air. Words failed them at first, but apologies flowed. "I was wrong to doubt you," she whispered. "I was scared to fight for us," he admitted. Reconciliation wasn't easy. They navigated therapy, blended their worlds slowly. Lily adored Victoria, who spoiled her with trips to museums but also taught her the value of kindness over cash. Mark learned to embrace Victoria's lifestyle without losing himself, attending events in borrowed tuxedos but always grounding her with reality checks. Yet, the ultimate test came at Le Chateau Noir. Victoria's ex-fiancé, now a bitter rival, showed up uninvited, spewing venom about Mark being unworthy. "She's too good for you, grease monkey," he sneered. The room tensed, expecting a scene. But Mark, ever calm, placed a hand on Victoria's. "She's with me," he said simply, his eyes locked on hers. In that moment, Victoria froze, not in fear, but in awe of his unwavering love. She stood, turning to her ex, "Yes, I am. And I've never been happier." The resolution brought tears and cheers from onlookers. Victoria's family, witnessing her joy, finally accepted Mark. Together, they built a life that bridged their worlds, a foundation for single parents, funded by her wealth but inspired by his heart. As the story closes, remember that love isn't about status or wealth, it's about choosing each other through storms. If this tale moved you, smash that like button and subscribe for more inspiring stories that remind us of what's truly valuable in life. Your support keeps these narratives alive. Continuing the story to expand towards a longer narrative, as requested, building emotional depth with more details, subplots, and character development. Mark's early days as a single dad were fraught with more than just emotional turmoil, practical challenges piled up like unpaid bills on his kitchen table. After Sarah's death, he had to quit his night classes in engineering, dreams of a better career shelved indefinitely. Lily's preschool demanded fees he could barely scrape together, and there were nights when dinner was peanut butter sandwiches because the fridge echoed empty. But Mark's resilience shone through. He'd wake at dawn, drop Lily at a neighbor's, work 12-hour shifts fixing engines that roared like his suppressed grief, then pick her up, read her stories until she slept, and collapse into bed only to do it all again. His friends urged him to date, but who has time for that? He'd laugh, masking the isolation that gnawed at him. Victoria's life, on the surface, was a whirlwind of opulence. Her penthouse had panoramic views, but she often ate alone, staring at the city lights that felt as distant as genuine connections. Her engagement to Preston Hargrove had been a calculated move, two empires merging, but when she discovered his affair with her assistant, the betrayal cut deep. "You're just a name to me now," she told him, firing them both. It hardened her, making her question every motive. That's why Mark's selflessness that rainy day stuck with her. No flattery, no agenda, just help. Their second meeting at the fair deepened the bond. Lily, with her scraped knee, looked up at Victoria with wide eyes. "You're pretty like a princess," she said. Victoria, unused to children's honesty, blushed. "Well, you're brave like a knight." Mark watched the exchange, a flicker of hope stirring. Over ice cream cones, they talked. Victoria admitted her work consumed her. "I build things, but nothing lasts." Mark nodded. "I fix things, but sometimes hearts are trickier than engines." As friendship evolved, small gestures built trust. Victoria helped Mark with Lily's school applications, using her connections discreetly. Mark taught her to change a tire, laughing as she got grease on her designer blouse. "See? Not so scary," he said. Their first date was simple, a picnic in the park. No limos, just blankets and sandwiches. Under the setting sun, Victoria opened up about her mother's abandonment when she was 10, leaving her with a father who saw her as an asset. Mark shared Sarah's last words, "Promise me you'll find happiness again." The kiss that followed was electric, a promise of possibilities. But the class divide reared its head early. At Victoria's birthday party, a lavish affair on a yacht, Mark felt out of place among the elite. Whispers followed him, "Who's the handyman?" A snide comment from a socialite, "Darling, is he your charity case?" Stung. Mark left early, doubting. "I don't belong there," he told Victoria later. She cupped his face. "You belong with me." They compromised, more low-key dates, like movie nights with Lily. The fabricated scandal hit like a hurricane. Tabloids printed lies, photos doctored to show Mark in compromising positions. Victoria's board pressured her, this could tank stock prices. In a moment of weakness, she asked Mark to step back. "Just until it blows over." Heartbroken, he agreed, but the separation lingered. Lily cried for weeks, drawing pictures of sad families. Mark threw himself into work, expanding his garage, but success felt hollow. Victoria regretted it instantly. She hired investigators, uncovering the rival's scheme. Publicly exonerating Mark, she declared in a press conference, "Love isn't a transaction." But pride kept her from reaching out. Years passed in regret. She traveled the world, built orphanages, but loneliness echoed. The gala reunion was serendipitous. Seeing Mark, older but still handsome, tools in hand, melted her walls. "I've missed you," she said. "Every day," he replied. Rebuilding took time. Therapy sessions revealed insecurities, Mark's fear of abandonment, Victoria's trust issues. Lily was cautious at first, but Victoria won her over with baking sessions, flour-dusted kitchens filled with laughter. Subplots intertwined. Mark's sister, Emma, a nurse, became Victoria's confidant, sharing stories of Sarah to bridge the past. Victoria mentored Lily in science, sparking her interest in engineering. Challenges persisted, a business crisis where Victoria's company faced takeover, and Mark's garage hit by a fire. Together, they overcame. Her resources rebuilt the garage, his ingenuity saved her deal. Climax at the restaurant, the ex's intrusion tested them. Mark's calm assertion, "She's with me," wasn't defiance, it was truth. Victoria's freeze was realization, this man, with his calloused hands and pure heart, was her home. She embraced him, whispering, "Always." In the end, they married in a simple ceremony, Lily as flower girl, blending worlds. Their foundation helped thousands, proving love conquers divides. The message: no matter your background, choose love, fight for it, and it will transform you. If this epic journey of love and resilience touched your soul, like, subscribe, and share. Let's spread inspiration together. Expanding further for length, delving into more detailed character arcs, daily life scenes, and emotional layers. Mark's grief over Sarah wasn't just a backstory, it was a living shadow. On anniversaries, he'd visit her grave, Lily in tow, placing flowers and whispering updates. "We met someone special, Sarah. I think you'd like her." Victoria respected this, never jealous, but it highlighted her own losses. Her father's coldness had left her craving approval. When he disowned her temporarily over Mark, it crushed her. "You're throwing away our legacy for a nobody," he bellowed. Victoria stood firm, legacy means nothing without love. Daily life with them was relatable chaos. Mornings, Mark making pancakes, Lily spilling milk, Victoria in power suits sipping coffee. Evenings, board games where Victoria's competitive streak emerged, losing gracefully to Lily's cheers. Challenges like Lily's school bully, Victoria wanted to sue, Mark taught empathy. Resolution, Lily stood up, gaining confidence. A subplot involved Mark's old friend, Jake, who envied the relationship and tried sabotaging it with rumors. Confronted, Jake apologized, revealing his own struggles. Forgiveness strengthened bonds. Victoria's pregnancy added depth, fears of repeating parental mistakes. Mark reassured, "We'll do it together." Their son, named after Sarah's middle name, completed the family. Through it all, emotional depth, tears over miscarriages, a hidden pain Victoria shared, joys of milestones. The story paces steadily, building tension, releasing in heartfelt resolutions. And so, in the tapestry of life, "She's with me" became their mantra, inspiring all who heard it.